Live from our studio here at Kokomlemle in Accra, this is Joy News Prime. We're live on your DSTV channel 421, GoTV channel 144. Tonight, unrest in Nkoranza as youth take over police station and free suspect as they demonstrate over the alleged murder of one Albert Donko.
Police
also, boards of public entities cited for procurement irregularities costing the state a whopping 580 million cedis. We'll speak to an expert. Now, school children make a desperate plea for school feeding caterers to return as teachers have had to extend break time to allow some pupils to find food from elsewhere.
All of us today in the morning, class 1 and KG people didn't eat. I want our kitchen to come back so that they'll give us food.
Some children, their parents doesn't give them money, so when they come to the school, they'll sit in the class or be begging food.
Ghana is on high alert over the threat of terrorism as the National Security Ministry has issued a strong appeal to residents to be extra vigilant. Beverly, what should we expect at 8 p.m. in business?
So the IEA has projected a 2% increase in policy rates. We'll hear from its Director of Research.
Proposing that, they should increase the policy rate by about 200 basis points. At this meeting, that should be the immediate response.
And in sports later.
Well, former Kotoko CEO Herbert Mensah says football administrators have a duty to protect the integrity of the game after the Ash Gold and Inter Allies were demoted to Division 2 following a match-fixing investigation.
Yeah, and I would hope, I don't know, that the administrators of the game and the powers that be recognize that football is big business, and big business will not follow anything that taints its image. And betting and gambling certainly does.
This is the home of independent, fearless, credible journalism. I am Samuel Kojo. Stay with us for details. Tonight, there's tension in the Bono East region town of Nkoranza as an angry mob attacks the municipal police station and free suspects. The action is in protest of the alleged killing of a man in the custody of the police. Albert Donko was allegedly picked up by police officers in connection with a robbery investigation, but his family was later told he had died. Now, the youth in the town suspect foul play and have been on the rampage. Our correspondent, Oheming Teria, reports the officers fled a while ago, but there's now a police reinforcement amid gunshots.
This is what we need. We need this.
We have Ohiming Teria on the line with updates. Now, Ohene, what is the latest on this?
Hello.
Hi, Ohene. We can hear you clearly. Those are disturbing scenes there. What's latest on this particular development?
Oh, thank you for the opportunity. We are still in Nkoranza, and I can report that the situation has been brought under relative control because the police team reinforcement in that was brought from Terrorism in the regional capital, and have been able to bring the situation under control. It's just that you could see some of the youth grouped, far away from where the police team is. But police are trying to, ensure that they disperse the crowd. That has been the number one objective of the police. That they believe that there is unity, there is sense in unity. Once the youth are able to come together, that is where they come to plan and also unleash further attacks on the police by throwing stones and slabs on the police. But just a while ago, I picked information that some of the youth have been injured and they have been sent to the hospital. So I followed up to the Terrorism hospital here in Nkoranza, and I came to meet a group of people, patients are at the hospital trying to get information from the hospital as to what has happened. I realized some of them were relatives of some of the injured persons who have been brought here. It is not clear what kind of injury is sustained. But before moving here, I saw suspected that of a human slashed on the road with a hat and then a slippers believed to belong to one of the youth activists, also on that particular spot. And so when I inquired from the youth, they said one of their own has been injured. They quoted a number of people who have been injured. But because it's unconfirmed, I decided to follow up to the hospital. A few minutes ago, I had interaction with the managers of the Terrorism Hospital, and they told me, yes, some of the people, the youth who had clashed with the police have been brought here, but they cannot confirm with the number of them who are here. They asked that we give them some time so that they provide us accurate information on that. They also said they requested for assistance in the form of military protection so that they'll be able to control the crowd that are amassing here. They say anytime, for instance, there's a road accident, a lot of town folks go to this facility and managing them becomes an issue. And because this is an emergency situation, they need all the necessary attention and then also the needed time to attend to those who have been brought here in care. So they want the situation to be brought under control by having military officers here so that they'll be able to control the crowd here. So to see some of the relatives and the community members still hanging around here, waiting to hear what is transpiring inside, what has happened to those injured persons who were rushed there.
All right, Ohiming, thank you for the update. Hang around and let's see if anything comes up. That's our man on the beat, Ohiming Teria there. Now, moving on to other stories. Ghana is on high alert over the threat of terrorism as the National Security Ministry issues a strong appeal to residents to be extra vigilant. According to the ministry, a number of Ghana's neighbors have suffered attacks from terrorist groups and the country continue to be a target for these groups. They want churches, mosques and other places of mass gatherings to increase their vigilance and alert law enforcement agencies of any suspicious activities. My colleague Kweku Asante joins me on Zoom with details of this alert from the National Security Ministry. Kweku, first, what did the ministry say necessitated this call for caution? Kweku, kindly unmute so we can hear what you're saying. All right, so I think we're having some technical challenges. We'll resolve the line so we can get you details of this statement from the National Security, which is cautioning all of us to be on lookout for cautious activities. For if we feel that there's something that is not right, we should report to the law enforcement agencies. We'll be back to that story when the lines are clear. But boards of public entities have been cited for procurement irregularities, costing the state a whopping 580 million cedis. This was reviewed by the African Center for Energy Policy and Imani after an analysis of procurement processes from 2011 to 2021. The amount, according to the think tanks, was different from the value of the financial irregularities recorded by statutory institutions as well as stores of the ministry, department and agencies within the same period. Our research team has put together some graphics to help us break the situation down. Now, if you look at what we have on our screens now, procurement losses alone is amounting to some 850 million cedis from 2011 to 2021. That's a decade there. Now, we have tried to break it down for you to understand the entities and how much each of them is bringing about. If you look at it, okay, so amount lost by the public boards to procurement irregularities amount to 850 million cedis. Now let's break it down so that you can follow us exactly what the report cites in terms of what all of them have been doing. Now, if you look at it, according to the report, Ghana Maritime Authority procurement breaches alone from 2015 to 2018 amount to some 1.3 million, and this is by the authority requesting for quotation instead of a national competitive tender, which has led to this particular loss. Now, the Ghana Ports and Harbours Authority also used single sourcing procurement processes without the approval from the PPA board from 2017 to 2019, and this led to some 6.3 million cedis. Unused procured books, that's a value book cited by the AG's report in 2017, said we lost some 17.8 million cedis, and also loss from unused procured booklet for agencies of ministries. These booklets were procured for them to use, but none of them used it, and we incurred some 39.4 million cedis in losses. That is the details there. Now, for more on this, we've been joined on Zoom by procurement consultant Kobina Atabedu. Sir, thank you for your time. How does this place our public board? What are really the challenges confronting our boards?
Good evening to you and good evening to your listeners. We are having an issue with proper regulation, compliance, and consequence management. Now, if I know that I can get away with something, I'll do it. And if I know that nobody will be able to do anything to me, I'll do it with impunity. And that is what we're experiencing right now.
Now, if you look at some of the reasons that they've given, that the boards do things without the approval of PPA board and all of that. Now, 10 million value books worth 17.8 million and another 21.5 million booklet for ministries remain unused. Why does this keep occurring in the public sector, and how can we end this?
It comes back to consequence management and effective supervision or regulation. So the process is that every procurement entity must, at the beginning of the year, prepare its procurement plan. Now, it is up to the regulator to ensure that entities would be able to spend only on what is on the procurement plan. If it is not on the procurement plan, you can't spend. And that is the first step for control. So nobody can spend outside the procurement plan. Now, when you prepare the procurement plan, it allows you to put what you intend to buy. It allows you to estimate the value of the transaction. And it allows you to indicate the method you are going to use. Now, as procurement people, by our training, we have methodologies and we have models we use. There are some transactions when you see what needs to be bought, you know that this one must be competitively bidded for. If you are going to have to apply any other method other than competitive bidding, which is the default position according to law, then you are supposed to get an approval for the PPA. Now, one of the biggest challenges we are having with the Act interpretation, in my opinion. Why do I say this? The law requires that if you want to use single sourcing, it has stated conditions under which you can apply single sourcing. What it means is that if it is not any of them, you don't even have to go there. And if you are going to go there, it means you are going to cite one of those as the basis for which you are requiring approval. And the approval you are getting from PPA, it is not an approval contract or to buy. It is an approval to use that method. In practice, what I am finding with my colleagues and the entities is that they put the cart before the horse. They will request the quotations, do all the transaction, come to PPA and say, I want to buy this laptop, but I'm buying it on single source basis. Give me approval to buy. Now, when you go and ask, why did you do this? They say, oh, PPA approved. PPA didn't approve the contract. They didn't approve the purchase. They approved the method that we agree with you, don't use competitive bidding. Use single sourcing. Now, it is after. So if you read the act, you see that 40 is for single sourcing. And 41 will come and tell you the process you are supposed to use. So you are supposed to get the approval before you come and do the process of sourcing for quotation and evaluation and award and all that. But we always put the cart before the horse. And this once you have collected the quotation, you are likely to ignore PPA and move ahead with it, especially when you know that PPA itself is not going to ask you any questions. It's not going to crack any whip on you. And eventually, even if the Auditor General comes and define infractions, nobody's going to do anything. So you do it with impunity. And that is what is happening.
So that is where the challenge is again, because the law has also mandated a PPA board to ensure that these things are done according to what the law says, but they are not done. So it looks like we go around the problem and still come back to the same thing.
The biggest challenge with the regulation is the board itself, the PPA board itself.
Exactly. So what then must happen?
Yes, I have reason to cite this because you see, the law, the Act states clearly under Section 18, and I would like, with your permission, I would like to read that one. Governance. Okay, Section 4. I'd like to read Section 4. It says, 4.1, the governing body of the authority is a board consisting of 9 persons. A person competent and experienced in public procurement as the chairperson. Now, my question, who is the board chair of Public Procurement Authority as we speak today? That is Professor Mary Kumfi. He is a fantastic educationist, PhD in zoology, but not an expert in public procurement. By law, if we say somebody is competent, he has gone to school, he's been examined, he's been certified. If we say someone is experienced, it means he has held a job and practiced it. He hasn't done any of it, so what is he doing there? Next, it says 4 persons from the public sector made up of 1 representative of the Attorney General. So there's a representative of the Attorney General. And 3 persons nominated by the minister, one of whom is a woman, so one of them is a woman, each of whom is a person who has experience in public procurement. Experience in public procurement means they should have practiced procurement. But be that as it may, it is they're coming from the public sector. I don't have a problem if the Minister of Finance put all of them, because all of them, as it stands now, are coming from the Finance Ministry. And they understand multilateral agency procurement procedures, so no problem with that. A C is the problem. 3 persons from the private sector who are experienced in procurement, not necessarily public procurement. Why did the framers of the Act put this condition here? Because of what you call groupthink in nature. Now, when you have people in the public service, they think in a certain way based on the constraints within which they work. When you bring people from the private sector, they come with a different mentality, different mindsets, different best practices that they can cross-fertilize the public service systems. So the Act consciously said that these 3 people should be from the private sector and they should be experienced procurement people. The question is, these 3 people, are they experienced procurement people? No. One is a lawyer. One is an investment banker. Believe you me, the third one, I have searched online everywhere for his background. I can't see his digital footprint. I don't know what his background is. What are they doing there?
So in your...
So the capacity on that 9-member board, the only person who has competence, as in examined, certified, and experience is the chief executive, is Frank Mande. It is not enough for a board of 9. Only one person understands the theory, the concepts, the strategies, and everything we do in procurement. Only one person out of the 9 fully understands that. And that is why we have situations like that we have.
So in your estimation, the problem is the PPA board?
It's the board.
Thank you, sir. I'm grateful for your time to join us here on Joy News Prime. Now, moving on, Ghana is on high alert over the threat of terrorism as the National Security Ministry issues a strong appeal to residents to be extra vigilant. According to the ministry, a number of Ghana's neighbors have suffered attacks from terrorist groups, and the country continues to be a target for these groups. They want churches, mosques, and other places of mass gatherings to increase their vigilance and alert law enforcement agencies of any suspicious activities. My colleague Kweku Asante joins me on Zoom with details of this alert from the National Security Ministry. First, Kweku, what did the ministry say necessitated this call for caution?
So, Brace, we know that in the last few weeks, there have been significant and consistent reports from either multilateral agencies or independent bodies warning that Ghana could be at risk. We know that just last week, there were some attacks in Togo where about 8 military men were killed by suspected terrorists. And so Ghana since then has been putting its borders, its immigration service and military on high alert in order to prevent any such attacks from happening. And so the National Security Ministry is warning that with this string of information that they have, and also the Waki report that came in recently suggesting that Ghana may be very ripe for terrorist attack, they are putting Ghana on the alert against any such threats in the next few months. And so they are using these warnings, this information that has come from multilateral agencies, that has come from WACI and the rest, as basis to warn that Ghanaians must be on high alert. They must look around them. They must ensure that they report to the security agencies all suspicious activities. Brace.
Well, what more did the ministry say apart from saying that some of these terrorist groups have made Ghana a target?
So they've been talking about churches, mosques, and other mass gatherings in terms of what they can do to safeguard the rest of the country. We know that when these terrorist activities happen, they usually happen in such places, churches, mosques, and places of mass gatherings. And so the security minister, in this statement that he put out, is warning that churches, mosques, and these mass gatherings places must ensure that they beef up their security, but not only that, they must ensure that all such suspicious activities that they see must be reported to the security agencies and other law enforcement for some of these issues to be clamped down. They are warning that they, on the part of the security installations, are very much on the alert on the borders and doing all that they must do to ensure that the country is safe. But also that Ghanaians have a collective responsibility. They have a role to play to ensure that this does not become a reality. We know that Ghana has been shielded so far from some of these terrorist attacks, but neighbors haven't been spared. But now Ghana is said to be a real threat. And the National Security Minister is saying that Ghanaians, residents, citizens must all take this as a responsibility and ensure that we report all such suspicious activities. Brace.
Thank you, Kweku. Now, still to come on Joy News Prime, school children make a desperate plea for school feeding caterers to return as teachers have had to extend break time to allow some pupils to find food from elsewhere.
All of us today in the morning, class 1 and KG people didn't eat. I want our catering to come back so that they'll give us food.
Some children, their parents doesn't give them money, so when they come to the school, they'll sit in the class or be begging food.
Now, school children in parts of Accra are making a desperate appeal for caterers under the school feeding program to resume work. A one-week-old strike by the caterers is beginning to bite our school authorities, who have spoken to Joy News on conditions of anonymity, say they are having to extend break hours to wait for some people who walk home to eat before they can continue academic work. My colleague Justice Beidou visited some schools and sent us this report.
And this is Ajune, because I want to make palm nut soup. I have to put Ajune.
Nana Kumansa the first caters for more than 300 school children in the Accra suburb of Sakaman. She's one of the last caterers still at work. The food stock she has would last for the next 3 days, she says. When it runs out, she says she's going to stop.
This morning, my head teacher called me, Madam, I want to cook. The children are crying. Even one of the children, I spoke to them on the phone. They said, Madam, when I'm coming to school, my mom is not there. Mommy go to market. I didn't give any money for us because we know that we are coming to eat in the school. So where is our food?
Caterers under the program have not been paid for 2 terms, and with inflation skyrocketing beyond 23% now, the women involved are demanding 3 times more the money they are currently paid.
The way the government is treating us is not good. How can you cook as a caterer? You buy a wood, gas, people's children, and we are put ourselves that we are going to feed them. We accept it, they are going to feed them. But if things is going high, government have to consider us too and give us more money.
All of us today in the morning, class 1 and KG people didn't eat. I want our kitchen to come back so that they'll give us food to eat. And I am praying that if they come, they will give us food to eat.
This is Grace. She is 7 years and one of the many pupils who eat from the school feeding program.
Since we opened school from last week Wednesday, the caterers have not been coming till now. Our parents knew that they will be coming and giving us food, so they will give us the snacks money to when we finish eating. They will buy water and those things to eat.
Ghana Education Service rules do not permit us entry into the schools, but on the outside of the school, we find many of the children loitering in search of food at break time.
Some children, their parents doesn't give them money, so when they come to the school, they'll sit in the class or be begging food. When we close, then they'll go home to find some food and eat.
For the school feeding, we don't use it at home.
Nana Kumansa wants to keep working, and like her, the thousands of caterers across the country are waiting for money so they could get back to cooking. Justice Beidou, Joy News, Accra.
In the Ashanti region, some pupils in basic schools have not been fed since the start of the industrial action by the caterers of school feeding program. This has affected attendance in some schools, and my colleague Emmanuel Bright Kweku has been monitoring some schools in the region and our reports.
The Eija MA school has a student population of a little above 1,500. Primary school pupils form a majority. The primary pupils in the school had hoped to be fed at school, but are disappointed as their caterers did not come to work.
Here at Eija MA, our checks reveal that the caterers at this school haven't been at post since reopening of school. Many of the pupils here normally come to school just to be fed, but in these past few days, the school has recorded low attendance.
A number of the pupils at the school's kindergarten are not attending school since reopening, mainly stemming from the industrial action by the caterers. Those who manage to come to school manage with a little pocket money from their guardians to buy food. At the heart of Kumasi sits the state experimental basic schools. The situation is no different.
So this is the kitchen used by some caterers under the school feeding program here at the State Experimental Basic 1 school, but currently there is no human presence in here. That is, the caterers who are supposed to cook for the wards or pupils of this school are not at post. What you only can find in here is some utensils, that is some cooking utensils, that is a cauldron and some firewood, chairs and a barrel containing water sitting in here. In an earlier engagement with some of the school officials, they indicate the students have been asking whether or not they will be fed, but the only thing they told them was that they should hope for a better day in the coming days. So this is what is actually happening in the Ashanti region. For Joy News, my name is Emmanuel Bright Kweku.
Let's still stay with the education sector. And the Ghana National Education Campaign Coalition is mounting pressure on the government to release all outstanding arrears of the Capitation grant for basic schools across the country. The fund was designed to finance the purchase of teaching and learning materials and, in some cases, to pay small repairs, administration and examination expenses. Although the grant per child was revised from 4 cedis 50 pesos to 10 cedis, government still has an outstanding amount of some 315 million cedis to clear. Blessed Soga has the rest of the story.
Article 25 of Ghana's 1992 Constitution states expressly that the state must make provision for a free education at the basic level in a program dubbed Free Compulsory Universal Basic Education. Under this program, every child of school-going age in the country should have access to basic education without any financial, parental, material, or any form of hindrance. In furtherance of this constitutional provision, the Capitation grant was introduced in 2003-2004 academic year. The fund was designed to finance the purchase of teaching and learning materials so as to improve the quality of learning, and it could also be used to fund small repairs, administration and examination expenses. During the 2017-2018 academic year, the grant was revised from 4 cedis 50 pesos to 10 Ghana cedis for each child per year. However, the Ghana National Education Coalition is reporting that the disbursement of the funds has been delayed, a situation which is crippling basic schools across the country. Benis Imperi Jechi, national coordinator of the program, tells me that some further deductions are made on the meager amount allocated to each pupil.
In the funds on time, it was supposed that every term for now a child is given 10 cedis for 10 Ghana cedis for the whole year. But for the 10 Ghana cedis too, I think there are some deductions at the regional and the district level within the Ghana Education Service. So what ends up coming to the school is 7 cedis 50 pesos for each child. And that one is supposed to be divided within 3 terms. So it means that every term a child is getting 2 cedis 50 Ghana cedis. But on the side of the government, 2 cedis 50 pesos for a term for each child in the public basic schools. But it got to a time to when they release the first term tranche, the rest of the term doesn't come at all. So it's again sends parents back to the old situation where they have to provide everything for their children, their textbook, their uniforms, their feeding and everything. So the policy is not really working as it's supposed to be.
She also adds that a delay in payment is beginning to affect the quality of education.
At the end of the day, the Ghanaian child is going to suffer. Because when you go to public schools in some rural areas, about 68% of the children cannot speak English because they do not have enough resources at the basic level. Introducing reading, effective reading, the phonics books, the handwriting books, all those basic school resources, they don't have it in the rural schools. We are recommending that the Ministry of Education and other stakeholders should ensure the sustenance and efficient and effective implementation of the Capitation grant program, which is very key. First, the government should release the monies on timely basis so that the teachers can actually and the heads of the school can really use the money for the intended purpose. And once the monies are released, we are also
at the Koko Mlemle Basic 1 and 2 here in Accra, there are visible signs that school authorities are having difficulties carrying out simple repairs. National Programs Manager of the Ghana National Education Coalition, Festus Amate, tells me that due to the unavailability of funds, basic schools such as this one are having serious challenges.
Yeah, as we are all aware, education is supposed to be made free for every child. And apart from that, it's supposed to be quality. And the Capitation grant has come in to support parents, to relieve parents of the burden of paying school fees. And therefore, we expect that every child in this country is supposed to be in school. Frankly speaking, access now is okay, but then the quality is an issue. Why do I say that? The schools cannot be run without resources, and the Capitation grant is meant to support the managers of the schools, that's the head teachers of the schools, to be able to run the school and provide the kind of education that we expect them to provide for our children. But as we speak, the Capitation grant, very often has been in arrears. The last time the Capitation grant was paid, for instance, is for the first term, just before the first term, and after that information getting to us indicates that when the first tranche is released, the subsequent tranches for the next 2 terms for the year are normally not released. And for us, it's going to pose a lot of problem in providing the kind of quality education that we want to provide for our children.
So we are here at the Koko Mlemle 1 and 2 basic school. Ordinarily, if the Capitation grant were to have been paid, that would have taken care of some of the structural defects here within the school building. But unfortunately, government has not been timely in terms of releasing the grants to the various schools. But you see that at lunchtime here, some of these students have been interacting with each other happily and hoping to get some good and quality education. But in the end, there is the question as to whether government is really committed to releasing the one necessary tool of funding which is critical to improving not just the quality of education, but even the environment within which the students study here. Blessed Sogan for Joy News, Accra.
Dozens of unemployed nurses hit the street of Accra to demand immediate postings by the Ministry of Health. According to some of them, they have been home since 2019 after completing school. Others also accuse some officials at the ministry of taking monies from their colleagues before giving them jobs. Samuel Mbura was with the protesters who later picketed at the health ministry and presented a petition to an HR official. This is his report read to you.
Scores of unemployed nurses have hit the streets of Accra today to demand their immediate postings by the health ministry. They say the ministry is using the backdoor approach in posting persons who completed school recently and leaving those who completed years ago. In a petition delivered to the Ministry of Health, the aggrieved demanded that immediate steps should be taken to get them posted because life has been unbearable. Some of these nurses have been speaking.
We completed 2019 till now, we've not been posted. And now how the economy is going, no man will pick you and then you are not working, you are unemployed.
I'm from all the way from Boku to this place just because of the posters. I have sat in the house for 3 good years.
We are pleading on the government to post us now. We are tired of sitting at home. Our parents are single parenting and they are suffering. We have siblings too that they are taking care of.
MOH is being discriminative. Some of the 2019 batch, we access the portal on the same day with them. Are at their post working now, and we be in the house.
But Deputy Director in charge of Human Resources at the Ministry, Lawrence Odate Lawson, who received the petition, assured them their grievances will be addressed.
Like we told you, we have received your petition. You know, we were mentioning your names. We are handling it point by point, order by order. And we have communicated to you that we're going to take it to our authorities for the issues to be addressed.
However, However, the nurses say they will further petition Parliament if their demands are not met. Samuel Imbure's report for Joy News.
The Minister of Lands and Natural Resources, Samuel Abu Jinapo, has dismissed allegations that the Achimota Forest Reserve has been sold. Addressing the press on Tuesday, the sector minister emphasized that the reports are false and baseless, as the government has no plans of undoing the forest. According to him, plans are afoot to rather upgrade the status of the forest into a world-class asset. He therefore urged the public to disregard the widespread report about the sale of the forest.
Following the publication of the Forest Cessation of Forest Reserve Instrument 2022, EI 144, there have been reports circulating in sections of the public that the Achimota Forest Reserve, as currently constituted, has been sold and is set to be earmarked and redeveloped into residential enclave. The general public is entreated to disregard these reports as they are false, baseless, and non-factual. Indeed, what the propagators of these messages have refused to add is that EI 144 was published together with the Forest Achimota Firewood Plantation Forest Reserve Amendment Instrument 2022, EI 154, which I have been making available to you members of the press. So for the avoidance of doubt, President Akufo-Addo, nor myself or his government intends to sell the Achimota Forest or redevelop the Achimota Forest as currently constituted. On the contrary, we intend to enrich the Achimota Forest, revamp it, and hopefully, in the not too distant future, transform it into the likes of Hyde Park of London and Central Park of New York, where Ghanaians can go and enjoy forest, the beauty of nature and forest reserve as it happens in other parts of the world.
So that's the Minister for Lands and Natural Resources. We'll take a quick break. When we come back, we have Showbiz. And welcome to the Showbiz segment of the news. And anytime it's time for Showbiz, I feel like showing you my rap skill. But Charlie, one day it will come up. IBs, yeah.
Let's save it. Keep it. Let's save it for another time. Okay, so a lot has been going on in the world of entertainment, and I don't know if you heard about D-Black's US is being closed down because the power supply to his place was illegally connected for the past 5 years that he's been operating. So this morning, Black Rasta was on the Prime Morning, which happens to be the morning show of Joy Prime, and she was in convo with Rosalind Felly, who was hosting her. And Black Rasta believes that the CEO of BAM Music, that is Black Avenue Music, should not be left alone. He should be facing the full rigors of the law because he did something that was illegal. Well, on the morning show, Black Rasta said the CEO of BAM Music should face the full rigors of the law.
What attitude are we talking about?
Good, nasty attitudes. Look, Nanato can build all the roads, put street lights all over, build 1 trillion factories all over Ghana. If our attitude is as nasty and stinking as it is right now, trust me, we will go in and collapse everything. We'll steal all the balls and destroy all the roads. That's true. Throw rubbish all over the place. I watch them and they are just throwing. That's bad attitude. Remember at Independence, Kwame Nkrumah told us that now that you have your independence, the next thing is for us to change our attitude. Nkrumah said it on the day of independence. That attitude, if there's any curse, the churches should be cutting with I kill you, die. It should be the attitudinal demon.
Not the spirit.
No. That demon of attitude where the employer, because it's not your father or your mother, you will steal time, steal internet, steal petrol, steal whatever. When we were at Multimedia, there was a guy who was stealing diesel from the generator. Hey, The generator that was providing power for the whole building. It's there. Go check it. He was stealing diesel. He would wait midnight. He was a midnight hip-hop player. You know, you come at night and pull the diesel into his car.
Wow.
And we all will be sitting there, boof. Oh, he light off. And you're trying to top diesel. He will be one of those sitting there, oh, company, wait here. That's the attitude I'm talking about. The attitude is when D Black can steal 500,000 Ghana cedis worth of electricity and still be part of Doomsor Vigil. That's what I'm talking about. You are stealing 500,000.
But we don't have proof that he stole it. It was alleged.
Who alleged? The owners of the power said he stole it. Which allegation? The owners of the power.
So what do you think should happen to D Black?
D Black should be made to suffer like any other person. Yes, that's stealing. If D Black had broken into multimedia and stolen 500,000, by now Ghanaians will be talking about, because it's a governmental institution. Even in our proverbs, can you imagine this? This is a proverb. It's an account proverb. Government work we don't carry on our heads, so we drag it on the floor. That's what D Black has done, and I'm so ashamed.
So should he be imprisoned?
I don't believe in prisons. Prison.
So what punishment do you think should be rendered onto him?
He has to pay 3-fold, 4-fold, 5-fold, depending on. For me, he shouldn't pay less than 10-fold what he has stolen.
Well, that is Black Rasta for you this morning on the Prime Morning Show. Well, you know that Rex Omar has also been re-elected to chair the board of GAMRA, right? And he's saying that his re-election is a reflection of all the hard work he's done over the past 4 years. I had a discuss with him, and that is how he put it.
I wouldn't be the judge. I mean, the people that I'm working for, if they have unanimously elected me to lead the organization, it just shows that it's a reflection of the work that has been done for the last 4 years.
Would you say everything planned and that particular turnout was executed, and coming in, you're going to be implementing new plans, or you're actually going to continue some of the things you had planned to finish?
You know, GAMRA is project in progress. So we're just going to build on what we have already successfully done. We started with a foundation, just like building a house. So if we have done the foundation, we just have to put the superstructure and then roof it. I wouldn't say GAMRA is perfect. I mean, if it is a project, I would say it is maybe 50% or 55% done. But we still have a lot of work to do. And I believe that with the new team, with our membership, with our new strategies and plans, we will be able to achieve what we intend to do.
Okay. But how long will it take for these plans to be fully blown, for people to actually enjoy the rippling effect of it? These plans you're talking about?
You know, we are operating from an area where people who are music users do not understand why they have to use that for music usage. We have a lot of education to do. The general public themselves do not understand the work of GAMRA. Majority of our membership do not understand the work of GAMRA. Here we have musicians or songwriters who have not even assigned their right to GAMRA. They don't know anything about copyright, yet they go on television and say GAMRA has not paid me anything. So we have a lot of education to do. We also have a lot of work to do when it comes to legislation. I mean, currently, GAMRA and the other CMOs are working on the legal instrument that is supposed to change to suit the current day and age.
All right, so yeah,
so that was that's Rex Omar. And let's wrap up with Kim Promise, who is showing how patriotic he is. He says he's been talking to Hudson Odoi to come and play for Black Star. You know that he is not Ghanaian by nationality, he's Ghanaian by birth. He says he's trying to convince him to come and play for the senior national team. And he told this to Andy Dosty on the morning show on 8 FM.
But you know, there's been calls for Hassan to play for the
I've told him so many times.
Not to come?
To come, of course. I'm very Ghanaian. I'm very patriotic. I love football, and I want the best on my national team. So.
And what's his reaction?
The decision is his to make, honestly. Like I told him, bro, I'm gonna call you every day till you make up your mind.
But what did he say?
He didn't give me a response. He said, "We'll see."
Really? Yeah. Just like that? That you can promise, if I want you to come and play for me.
No, but it's a big decision that he has to make, because
can promise.
He's represented
I want you to play.
Well, that is Kim Promise for you over there, and we're praying that his wishes will be granted.
Let's see how it goes. And that's how we call it a wrap on the Joy News Prime. There's more at myjoyonline.com. My name is Samuel Kojo Brace. Up next is Prime Business. Stay with us.